Anyanyap Jigik, Lynn Liston, Amjit, Nordic, Arizona, Anyanyap Ki, Fikshan, Arizona. Anya Ag Upjigik, Daniel Liston, Anya Upjigik, Lois Liston, Anya Bob Upjigik, Clarence Eliando Sr., Anya Hood Upjigik, Christine Johnson. Nya Wask Upjigik, Clarence Liston, and Gag Upjigik, Helen Liston. My name is Lynn Liston, and I am Tohona Autumn. My parents are Daniel and Lois Liston. My paternal grandparents are Clarence and Helen Liston. My maternal grandparents are Clarence Eliando Sr. and Christine K. Johnson. I am from the village of Nordic in the Tohono O'odham Nation, and I currently live here in Tucson, Arizona.
I'm a teacher at the Bobby Kibri Unified School District, and I teach at the middle school, 8th grade ELA. In sales, working with the Tohono O'odham people and students. When COVID hit around March, we kind of first went into where the teachers were still coming into the on campus, but the students were learning virtually. At the beginning of the following school year, we did report to campus, but then there was a survey that went out to the community and to the parents. Of course, following all the guidelines of the nation, also it was decided that last year was going to be virtual. We had to kind of just quickly close everything down on campus, take whatever we needed to use at home, which were our devices, some of our technological tools, other tools that we used. We were sent home and we began our virtual teaching for the rest of the school year.
Before COVID came, I had been quite successful getting out into the community, attending different events and vending. My work began to be known throughout different areas here in southern Arizona, so I would usually get an invitation from people to come and bring my work, bring my art and go to vend at different events. When COVID hit, when the pandemic shut down things, it was really an interesting time, because here I was, I had this work that I was doing, getting the rewards of that by being able to be out in the public and show my work and be able to sell my art, and people began to know about it. I had started a social media page for my art, which began to gain popularity. More people began to follow me. From there, because we weren't able to go out into the communities anymore, it had to turn to an online format. I had a few friends that told me, other artists, people that told me they had been selling online on Etsy. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll give it a try. And so I did. and it worked out really well. It did take me a little by surprise that people were so willing to buy my pieces of art, even though during the pandemic, things were uncertain for a lot of people, myself included, and I didn't know how it was going to impact people financially. But I went ahead and put things out there. I would announce on my Instagram when I would be having a sale. It is so humbling, because once I did, I opened my shop. I had my items there. They'd sell out. Everything would sell out in a matter of minutes. So that's what I did during the pandemic, and I was really surprised, but really thankful for the way it turned out.
The hardships were the internet connections from some of the families that lived, long distances away from where we were located. The main district is located in Cells, and we have students coming in from Ajo, Pacinimo, Santa Rosa, Tucson. And then we had to make sure that the district issued out all the devices to all the students, so that each student had a device. But I think the internet connection was one of the main difficulties that we had with students. The other part of it was some of the parents and guardians didn't, have that training of virtual learning, or even how to use a device. The students were more savvy with the tools than their parents or their guardians were, so they were teaching that. And then also, some of us don't have very limited knowledge, myself, because I'm an older person and I'm not really very savvy with technology. I had to learn all those different tools along the way as I began teaching virtually. Different platforms like Jamboard, like Kami, Nearpod, Pear Deck are some of the tools that were out there, and I had to learn those myself in order to be able to make sure that my students were learning, or make it interesting, so that they stay logged in with me, or they continue throughout their classes and assignments.
It was hard because, we felt that separation for the time. I mean, we would still go down there, but when it started to get really strict, where the Autumn Nation said, we can't be going back and forth, those of us that live here in the city and going back home, and because we don't know, we could transmit, the virus. So especially for my family, we're very big on our traditional saguaro fruit harvest, the bahitach harvest every year. That's our new year. And so we've done it in our family, for generations, and we wanted to continue that cycle. We had to do it separately. My parents and my family down there, they did the harvest down on the main nation. Us here in the city, we were able to go to Saguaro Park and take part, because we have special permission through the Park Service for the Tohono O'odham to go and harvest there. We did that, and that was a way for us to, even though we were separate, but we were still together in our mission, in our celebration of the new year, and just praying and hoping for the next year to come, that we would be able to be back together again. But it was really strange.
Another concern was the understanding and the comprehension. Are they really learning what I'm teaching? I could see it on my testing. Some of it was showing up on my testing. Yes, they are. But I think the hardest part I tried to get them to do was to actually turn in their assignments. There was a tool on their Google Classroom where they had to push the button to submit their work. And a lot of my students weren't doing that, even though I kept, telling them over and over, don't forget to submit your work. Students didn't like to turn on their cameras. So I didn't even know most of my 8th grade students from last year. I never knew what they looked like because I never saw them face to face. That became difficult too. And I think we lost some of our students because they weren't able to do the internet. A lot of our students live in homes that have multi-family members living within that one household, and multi-generational. And also I knew that there were, more than one family in the household, and you could hear it when they would turn on their microphone. It was hard for them to learn, to find a quiet place for them to learn from. We really don't know if, our students really learned anything last year.
it did affect me in certain ways, just not being able to be with my parents or be with my other family, extended family. I'm a part of our traditional singing and dance group, which before we were traveling all over the place and sharing our songs and being there for celebrations. And when that stopped, it was really, it really hit us hard, because for us, coming from the line of traditional singers, it's just something that's a part of us, and it's always something that we're so happy to do and to share. With everything being cut off, it was really sad, in a way for me, but knowing that we had to do it because it was for the greater good, of our people. In the meantime, even though we were not doing it regularly, we still, we have to continue doing it even on our own, when we're in our own homes, singing, practicing those songs and singing those songs, because for us, those things are what brings us together. Even though, again, we're separate physically, but that kind of connection we'll always have in spiritually through our songs and our prayers. And who would have known, that this pandemic would, in a way, force our songs to go out even further than just our own nation. We share our songs on our nation with our people, but this and, social media and virtual gatherings like that, the songs travel probably further than we would have imagined, if this hadn't have happened. So, we got to, keep in mind those kinds of things that happen, that there's a reason, there are lessons in it. There are transitions that happen during these times. We have to focus on that, not just dwell on, oh yeah, we're stuck in the house, we can't go anywhere, we can't be with our family. But really, it's like for us, it's just, for me, I always think, there's a reason for this. What is it? What is it I'm going to learn through this time?
It's something new that I thought I would never be able to, we never knew that something like this would happen in my lifetime. So it's good for me that I was able to learn some of these technological skills that I'm learning, so that I'm getting better at it. COVID isn't anything good, but there are some positive things that came out of it, and there's, more of the negative things that we're still trying to tackle.
We may be living in Jukshan, but Jukshan is part of our ancestral homeland. So even when I'm here, I know this is Atam Jowit. This is Atam land that we are in here in the city. The city just happened to be built here where the Atams inhabited. We do have a reservation or a nation that is, has boundaries now, and knowing that a lot of our family live there, it wouldn't feel right. The elders, our leaders, our elders said, no, this is something that we really need to take seriously. We have to respect that. Culturally, we listen to our elders, so we know that they are doing the best they can for our people. I remember we used to hear the saying from our grandparents is that we need to learn to be quiet, be silent, because sometimes that silence could save your life. For us, in that way, it's like, in an overall way, we had to learn to be silent. We had to stop, we had to slow down, we had to reevaluate where we are in our life. During this time, during the pandemic, I think people generally began to think about what's really important in their lives, priorities, where their principles lie, where their values lie, who's important to them, the people, their family and friends that are important to them. In a way, it's almost like, I think about it as like a reset, and thinking about, why do we do them? Is it just something we do every year? Or is it something that really means something to us, and we want to continue it on even stronger when the pandemic is over, when we're able to gather again together? Even though, yeah, it was a bit, sad that we weren't able to carry on with these things that we did, but yet again, there's a reason for it. There's a reason that we need to look inside ourselves and see if that's something that we really need to solidify, to make that commitment in our hearts to continue on with it when it is safe to do so again, to be able to save lives, not only our own, but other people around us. That is my hope and prayer, that our people would see that, what's important to us as a people, and what's important to hold on to. beauty, creativity. It will always find a way to bring about some good things, even if we're in troubling times. Throughout history, there's been art to depict the good, the bad, and the ugly of history. As an artist, in a way, we're part of that history keeping of things that happen on this earth when we're here, when we're alive. Sometimes we see a different perspective of what's going on in the world. We use that as a way to share history telling, storytelling. Even during dark times in the world, beautiful art is being made, a bit of a light in the darkness. For an artist, they can't help but create. If they have to tell the dark story, they will use art to do that. I hope that a lot of people have used art as a way to heal and to remain calm, remain at peace during this time. That's me, what I say about that.